Evening, and welcome to the Cardinal Way for Men Live. My name is Ed Cardinal. This evening, I wanted to discuss the healing power of sound. This is a practice that I was introduced to many years ago when I was introduced to shamanism. The shamans use sound as a way to bring their patients or tribal members into a meditative state, a healing state, and I'll explain more about that later. I actually had the opportunity to build my own hand drum. This is elk hide during a weekend workshop. And I can tell you that that process was very transformative. After the first day, I remember having the drum half created, and I was carrying it home, and it felt like I was carrying my own child, my own baby. It becomes part of you when you build something. For any of you who have built anything, that's your energy goes into it, and also the energy of that elk and that elk hide is part of that process. So sound healing has ancient roots all over the world, and one of the ways I've used that drum is in workshops to bring my students into a state of relaxation, of meditation, of a trance-like state, in order that they may release their ego and get into a more spiritual, different state of consciousness. I use this practice myself. I listen to audios of drumming, either 10, 20, or 30 minutes long, to bring me into that state. So I'll mix this into my meditation practice in the morning. And I also use that to what they call journey into the future, into the past, where you're using your imagination to go on a journey. And it's a good time to get clarity, a good time to ask questions. I've had many questions answered in that process, in that meditative state. So sound is basically vibration that travels through the air, and it affects our nervous system. And our sound that we produce affects the nervous systems of people and creatures, our pets. What it does is it crosses the auditory nerves into the part of the brain, the thalamus. And when we get into that place, then we come into like a trance-like state. But research has showed that the beat of a drum at 4.5 beats per second gets you into that state. And what happens is the brain waves come into alignment with the alignment of the sound of the drum. So the brain waves will get into that 4.5 beats per second. It's called entrainment. And again, in that place, as healing can take place, the body can relax. You have what's called a light sleep. You also get into what's called the Theta state. And if we can spend at least 30 minutes a day, and this is research has shown this, 30 minutes a day in that state, it's got very healing properties as far as stress reduction, even reducing pain, anxiety, depression, amongst there's many others, but those are just a few that I wanted to talk about. It also shows that we have less of a need for sleep when we're in that theta state, so it allows the body to rest. I know I've talked about this research before in a previous live, Dr. Emoto from Japan. And he has a book out called The Messages from Water. And he exposed sound, thoughts, even prayers to water in petri dishes, and then froze the water, sliced it, and looked under the crystals under a microscope and took photographs. So the water that's exposed to, let's say, classical music or words of love and gratitude, the crystals were perfectly formed and beautiful. And those that were exposed to words of hatred, anger, music that wasn't as beautiful as classical music, the crystals were chaotic and disorganized. Our bodies are made up of mostly water, so you can imagine that how sound will impact and affect our health and our well-being. So it's important to, first of all, be careful about the words you use because it can affect other people. Also, be careful about the words that you're being exposed to and the sound that you're being exposed to, because it will affect your health, your emotions, and your well-being. Hope this was helpful, and until you see me again, be well. Take care. Bye-bye.